Frida Konze. Hamzamo familia, welcome to the Blackwood Fire Network Africa Today Show. I hope that everyone is doing well on the first day of September, the year 2021. It's the first of the month. If you doubt it, I better ask those brothers from Cleveland, Ohio. That is a little bit of some Bone Thugs and Harmony, the instrumental, and it's always jamming. I think even 10 years from now, the same jam will still be on point as it was when it came out some years back. And I hope that you are doing well. I want to welcome each and every one of us to the podcast. I hope that you are doing well and you're looking forward to a great month as well. I do not know what your plan is for the month, but they do say failing to plan is planning to fail. So I would really get to urge everyone to make a plan, because if you do not, then what you're looking forward to doing is failing at the end of the day. And when we get to September, that is when people realize that the year is almost coming to a close. And that is when people are trying to do the most for the next remaining months of the year. But I do hope that whatever you plan to do, you get to succeed in it. And I also do hope that you are getting ready with everything that is happening around the world with this global pandemic and the next phase of it. I hope that people are not just sleeping and waiting for things to happen. Sometimes we as a Black people have been known to be reactive instead of being proactive, which is a danger. But I do see Stacey Thomas. Thank you so much, Sister Stacey Thomas, for joining us on the podcast. You're saying Jambo family, it's the first of the month. Indeed, it is. I hope that you are doing well. I understand, Sister Stacey Thomas, you're still working on your plans to, tour, I believe, Tanzania. I hope that your plans are actually coming along just fine. I do not know, but for us as a Black Fire family, we shall be back in Tanzania in December. So you might get there before us. I'm not sure when you're also planning to make your trip there, but you might get there before us. Brother Answers on the broadcast. I hope that you are doing well. And of course, I want to remind us to check out the Blackwood Fire Network new social page on the website. There has been some work that has been done. There has been a lot of upgrades done on the network website. So anytime that you get a little bit of some time, make sure you head over to the network website and search for the blackwoodfirenetwork.com. On the blackwoodfirenetwork.com, you can also put /social on your browser, and it take your social media page of the Blackwood Fire Network. On there, you can share all sorts of info that you would like to share with the rest of the family, because I always keep on saying no one really has a monopoly on knowledge. You can get to learn something from me. I can also get to learn something from you, and eventually we get much better by building each other up using the info and the knowledge. I am not sure whether you can hear me. I think I'm having a bit of a heat. Please do let me know if you can hear me, because it seems like my computer froze for a second there. I couldn't see the waves on my end. You're saying that if you don't make a plan, someone else will make it for you. Exactly, 100%. If you decide to just go along, if you just decide to go along with the wave, you every other kind of a road you take, it will get you there, even if there doesn't mean whatever you want it to be at. So make sure you're making plans for the rest of the year, and also making plans also for this particular month of September. I also forgot to play a little bit of some September by Earth, Wind and Fire. I believe time moves really, really fast, because I just played that song I was introducing the month of September last year, and it seems like it was just yesterday. So time is moving really, really fast, and I hope that we are also doing the same, moving as the time gets to do so as well. And I want to take us all the way into our updates for today. There has been so many things happening, and some of them really we saw these one coming. The baby going on an apology spree. This one has not it has not ended, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. Because I believe he was actually made to go on these apology spree, for him to keep his image. He was made to do this for him to keep his image, or for him to keep his not to be cancelled out. So what I have seen is that he has made a meeting, or he has had a meeting with Black HIV advocates. You remember when he was at a concert, he made some remarks, and everyone did come for him, especially I think that was the LGBTQ, and also people with living with HIV and AIDS. So what he has been doing right, for the last couple of weeks is really an apology spree. Doing going back to his social media, and saying that he has been educating himself, just like Nick Cannon was doing. If you remember the quote unquote anti-Semitic claims that were made by Nick Cannon, he went and talked about, he has been educating himself. He has been trying to get information from a rabbi. He has even a rabbi friend, and all these are different nonsense. So for him, if you speak out anything, and these are your genuine thoughts on any matter, especially when you are in the entertainment industry, and you happen to to strike a nerve with the LGBTQ, or strike a nerve with any other different kind of a group, you will have a bit of a problem with that. So the baby has apologized for his hurtful remarks, and then he was meeting with a Black HIV advocate. And this was, of course, a group of our community leaders, medical professionals, and HIV advocates to address his ill-informed homophobic comments. So when you talk about homophobia and how people, if you express your mind or your thoughts on any matter, like I said earlier, you will be getting some consequences. And I do believe this has to do with the freedom of the expression of self-expression. It's really, really difficult these days. The North Carolina hip hop performer, the baby, became under fire after making a homophobic comments on stage in Miami Rolling Loud Festival in late July. And since July and the whole month of August, and even right now in September, what he has been doing right now is a lot of an apology spree. In August, more than a dozen doctors and community leaders fighting to prevent HIV and AIDS and provide care and treatment for people with HIV, particularly Black people, posted an open letter in response to the baby's inaccurate and harmful comments. The letter was essentially a detailed fact sheet looking at the realities of living HIV in today's world, and a group of advocates also invited the baby to a private, off-the-record and virtual discussion, an invitation which he affirmatively responded to. So that is that is a case for the baby, and I think even for the rest of the rest of this month, he will be going on and continuing with that apology. And nonetheless, there has been some updates on the humanitarian situation in Haiti, and this is after the recent calamity that struck Haiti. And the U.S. is said to airlift. The U.S. is said to be airlifting assistance. It's said to be airlifting assistance to the people of Haiti. But any other time, I think we mentioned this yesterday. Any other time we hear about these airlifting of aid, or even putting humanitarian assistance together, what happens there is also most of the time you'll also find, like, for example, a couple of years ago, there was a matter of the children are going missing in Haiti, after the calamity struck a couple of years ago. And also even this time, you will find about aid being taken to Haiti and being airlifted to Haiti. But at the same time, I am sure that there is a problem of organ harvesting in these nations, even as people are focused on trying to get back on their feet. A lot of attention is not also given to what is happening with the children, and also what is happening with the organ harvesting situation in Haiti. And I think sometimes back, the former president, also did talk a little bit about what was happening because of the cases of the children that were missing. The U.S. military aircraft is now ferrying food, tarps, and other material into southern Haiti, amid a shift in the international relief effort to focus on helping people in areas hardest hit by the recent earthquake to make it through the hurricane season. And an aircraft are flying out of the capital, Port-au-Prince, arrived throughout the day in Saturday in most rural areas, a mountainous southern peninsula that was the epicenter of the August 14 earthquake. And you could see people, really, really too much happy in terms of the support that they are getting. But there is nothing really that comes from free. If you get to ask me, there is nothing really that comes from free for free. And there has been a lot of dependence of the Haiti people, not just the Haiti people, but even the African people at large, especially right here on the continent. The dependence on the US, they dependent on Europe to come and put in these humanitarian assistance, put in this kind of a support. The problem is with that kind of a mindset of reliance, people are not able to do for themselves. And I just want to share a little bit of a video, a presentation by Dr. Henry Crack. He was talking about this dependence on the African people on the US or on the European as well. And the problem is that particular kind of a mindset is a prison. You might try to get out of that, but you'd rather even better be behind steel. Instead of being in this particular kind of mindset, which is a prison for you for dependence. Let me share with us this video real quick, and then we shall proceed with more matters right here on the Blackwood Network Africa Today Show. This was a Dr. Henry Crack, and this was a presentation on the matter of even that dependence, and the question whether Black people are still even ready to yield back power and also do for themselves. And it's a very, very pertinent question that we need to ask ourselves and see what we can do to be able to yield back power and also to be able to do for ourselves. If we are not focusing on that, then I think everything else that we might be trying to focus on, it will be somewhat a distraction. So let me share these presentation. This was done by Dr. Henry Crack, and I agree 100% with most of his sentiments on the same matter. Let me see, there's a problem. I'm trying to load that. And I'll also share with us some sentiments regarding Haiti and what is a way forward for Haiti. Right after this, also presentation by Dr. Henry Crack. Right here. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, and I hope that you get to also engage with us on our social media platforms. Let me share with you these.
We lost our culture. We lost the image of God as a deity looking like ourselves. And we began to think that our best way to survive is to be those things most unlike ourselves. And when you become those things most unlike yourself, the person that you are imitating become your prisoner, whether they build a jail or not. And most of the time they do not have to build a jail, because the psychological jail of depending on someone else for religion, culture, and image is a more binding jail than any steel can erect for you. How did we become a dependent people from an independent people? Why have so many messengers came among us and we have not heard their message? Why have we started fights where there were no fights? And what we have to do in order to restore ourselves and prepare ourselves for nationhood again, we have to look at the life of maybe 4 men, but principally 3. We have to look at their lives irrespective of what religion we belong to or what ideology we belong to, and understand that everybody politically, left and right, has got us wrong. And nobody analyzed our case the way it needs to be analyzed.
Get somebody down here.
The nationalists use it for opportunism.
Sorry, what? Kid, how are you doing? Welcome to the broadcast.
So they just got here. Yeah, so.
To the right, you didn't expect very much. And one of the main reasons why the left had not understood our case is because they've fallen into a trap set by Karl Marx. Religion is the opiate of the people. Religion is not the opiate of the people. On this point, Karl Marx is wrong. Religion can be made the opiate of the people. People can misuse religion to the point where it puts them to sleep. But religion is a revolutionary weapon. And until you understand that it is a revolutionary weapon, you will not make the best use of it. Karl Marx's assessment of the world of his day, based on what he learned from urban England and urban Germany. And the world is bigger than that. What he said about economics and what he said about class might well be applicable to those societies. But these things are not applicable to non-Western societies, where the main factor is not class in economics. The main factor is culture and religion. And this is what is happening inside Russia right now. People are voting not to leave Russia. People who are not anti-Russian, but they are against the suppression of their religion and their basic culture. They were brought into the Union of Soviet Socialistic Republics after the revolution, but they wanted to maintain their same religion and their same culture, in spite of the fact that Marxism said that religion is the opiate of the people. They want to hold on to that opiate. Now, if we ever become a socialist people, and we would not have to be imitating anyone because we were socialists anyway, all we will be doing is taking back what we had before. I have no question that the world is going socialist. There's no other place for it to go. Capitalism has played itself out. It lacks humanity. It fails to take care of people. It fails to share. There's a terrible imbalance. There's a few men with enough food to feed 1,000 and 1,000 of people with no food at all. Such a system cannot last indefinitely. The kind of systems that African people, South Sea Island people, a lot of Asian people live under were pure sharing societies, where each man got according to his needs. This is a pure form of social living that others call socialism. It was communalism that other people later called communism. Because we are afraid of words, because the mass media tells us what to be afraid of. We've grown afraid of words and systems that we created without any doctrinaire literature around it. As a socialist, Karl Marx was a Johnny-come-lately. It was old hat. They already created classless societies. We already created sharing societies. And Europe's intent was to destroy these societies. Now, before going on to what will we have to do in order to prepare for the 21st century, which will be day before yes, day after yes, tomorrow. It's right on us. Let's see how we got into this trap. The trap of not being prepared. What are the items we missed? What are the items we still miss? We get hung up with a bag of worms called integration.
Generally, is the person reading assistant from clear email.
All right, you guys got it.
I guess my computer.
Confident. Confident messages, stronger essays.
not knowing that this in part can be annihilation. I know some brothers and sisters start eating cornbread after integration. Black folks don't eat cornbread, so why should they eat cornbread? That's imitation, not innovation. Those things dearest to you, those things that sustain you, must be continued. The Jewish people are integrated into the total society. You go to Brandeis, it is clear at Brandeis that you are going to a university that was founded by Jews for the best interest of Jews, and that it will stay that way. And if you don't like it, let the door hit you. They don't change one iota to suit anybody. Now, if you want to go to the university the way it is, all well and good. But if you want to change it, you got trouble. They didn't change Einstein Medical School, and they're not going to. These universities are still going to be Zionist universities. I have nothing against that. I can deal with that. But shouldn't we have one or several or all so-called black universities dedicated to black people the world over? How many black universities are teaching an African language? How many black universities have in-depth courses on what happened to Africa? And how many would dare mention our Holocaust that started before? And how many black professors would have enough nerve to say that the people who were trapped into the German Holocaust participated in every aspect of our Holocaust that's still going on, and they're participating in every aspect of it right now.
Yeah, he actually hit the nail on the head, because that is exactly what is happening with those Jews, and they're doing the most to make sure that they also involved with the Holocaust and take as much of our people out.
Who will deal with our sentimental attachment to the Hebrew mystique and how this mystique came into being? During slavery, we wanted to attach ourselves to a people who escaped from something. So we believed the Exodus story more than they, and still do. We believe the story of the Hebrew children in the fire furnace. We believe it more than they right now. You cannot separate folklore and mythology from truth. Folklore is beautiful. Folklore is essential. Myth is essential to the ego of all people. But myth is not truth. Myth is based on folklore. I grew up believing and reciting the stories of High George the Conqueror. Because anytime we wanted somebody to do something to a white person, they get away with it. They bring in High George the Conqueror. Slapped that man's face, kicked him, and he was begging for mercy. Ran out of the neighborhood. We didn't do it, High George did it. I'm saying that it is essential that people tell stories that make them feel good about themselves. All people tell stories that make them feel good about themselves, but you tell somebody else's story. You haven't told your story yet. But how did you get into the predicament that you're in today, where you are totally unprepared to handle a nation? Let's look at South Africa and the whole fight against apartheid. It's a good fight. I've been a part of it for 50 years of my life. What is missing in the fight? The main thing is missing is the fact that Apartheid is not what the struggle in South Africa is mainly about. It's about European or white control over the mineral wealth of the world. They must control the platinum. They must control the precious metals. They must control the gold. They must control the diamonds, especially the industrial diamonds. They can eliminate apartheid tomorrow. Schools in the world is the Colorado schools of mines.
And they got it over right there, but he was making a very pertinent point regarding South Africa, and I agree with him. It's about control, and they want to control all the mineral wealth in the world. It doesn't even have to do with them getting these not or having their own, washrooms, or having their own stores, or having their own. It doesn't have anything to do with them wanting to have their own washrooms or having their own stores. It's about controlling the mineral wealth of the continent of the world, really.
In the United States, not one African student, not one black student studying at the Colorado School of Mines. If you're going to take over South Africa, you got to know how to control the mine. You got to control the metal. You got to know how to make people safe in going into mines. You got to know how to market the mines. You have to know how to guide the ships across the sea to deliver your goods and your property. South Africa is the 12th largest importer of food in the world. A lot of the peaches you buy in cans came from South Africa. A lot of the lobsters, South Africa, lobster tails. Now, if you're going to take over South Africa, you don't know how to handle the fields, then all you will have to do is to call them back to show you how to do it. How many people do you have who can fix an elevator? What I am talking about tonight is how you lost the concept of controlling a nation. Until you get back the concept of nation formation and nation management, you're going to have difficulty with or without apartheid. I don't question the apartheid is brutal. I'm fighting it the same as everybody else, but I know that's not the whole picture. You have to prepare to control every single item in a nation that needs to hold that nation together.
The problem, I believe, also on the African continent is and even the leaders themselves, because they are puppet leaders. They have no idea on the concept of a nation formation. They are just there to act as gatekeepers. If you look at it, if you look at most African nations, and look at the leadership in these countries. The leadership in these countries is not even about helping all shaping their countries to foster maybe economic growth. They're about taking as much. It's all about what can these individuals take out from the system and enrich themselves. But even when they are enriching themselves, most of the resources are actually being taken away from the continent under their watch. You will go into South Africa, like you said, go into the DRC Congo, go into a country like maybe Cameroon, you will find the resources right there do not benefit the people even one bit. They do have all resources. You might find oil. You might also find other different kinds of resources in these nations. But look at the benefits that is derived from these resources by the local people. It's really very, very small. It's really almost close to nothing. I do see Haki Sanko. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. And I do see Haki Sanko messing with Keith, saying, Keith, this is one of the few who could back break you. This is Dr. Henry Crack, and he has a lot of insight regarding how the formation of Black Nation and how people can be able to become also dependent and reliant on themselves. So I'll play a little bit on this, and then I'll highlight on the situation with Haiti, because Haiti, like I said, there has been the quote-unquote humanitarian assistance coming from the outside. And with this humanitarian assistance, you will also find a lot of negatives are going along with it, and also what can be done by the people of Haiti, who did move from one of the richest nations in the Caribbean to be now, one of the poorest in the Caribbean. We shall be talking a little bit about that, but let me allow Dr. Henry Crack to continue with his presentation on this, and then we shall go into current affairs, or what is happening and how people are ready or not ready in that particular case.
How many locksmiths you got there? People have to be trained in every aspect of nation management, including sweeping of the street, sewage system, drainage system, water supply, all of this. This makes up a nation. Now, the black man I want you to look at again, because each one in his own way was preparing us for nation management. And had we looked at each one and accepted each one on the basis of his contribution and stopped arguing about who was fighting who, we would have been close to a time, or we might have been ready for the 21st century. Let's look at Booker T. Washington, W.D. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, and Elijah Muhammad. Why Elijah Muhammad? You're not a Muslim? That's not even the issue. Elijah Muhammad, like most Muslims, was a disgruntled Baptist. If you ever went to see one of his speeches, if you ever saw Malcolm X at the mosque and go to a Baptist church, you see the response back and forth, a typical Baptist response. They don't let the minister stand there and preach a whole good sermon without letting him know that you're on the mark, brother. You know, that's God's word. It goes back and forth. Yeah, brother. Yes, yeah, you. That's all right. Make it plain now. When you see the same thing happening among Muslims, they've got on a Muslim veneer, just a coat. But beneath it all, they're the same Baptists that they left. They're just angry with the religion of the oppressor. The religion that the oppressor adapted, but never practiced. Now, when we go back now and look at Booker T. Washington, look at the school at Tuskegee, he was preparing black people to sustain themselves on a nation basis. You live in a brick house, own a brick yard, learn how to manage a brick yard.
That is exactly true. And also, do believe at the Black Wall Street, I was able to have a bit of a concept of, relying on themselves, not relying from anyone else from the outside. And they were running their own, concerns are very, very well. For example, I do believe they were also involved with the mining of oil and also other different ventures in the Black Wall Street. And these angered a lot of these crackers. They say if we do have black power, it creates a white outrage. The minute you start, yielding power and also being able to do for self, having your own concept of a nation formation, and being really without any need for them, from the outside, that really angers these crackers a lot. But let me play a little bit more of this, because there's a lot of truth with what Dr. Henry Crack is teaching about.
You created a business. Now, create videos for your business.
Shoes made of leather, learn how to tan leather. Learn how to take leather straight from a cow, tan it, and make it into a good shoe. Many students walked to Tuskegee. They were so poor. They walked across 3 states and got to Tuskegee. They barefooted. And what did Booker T. Washington do? Started a shoe repair shop, and later a shop showing people how to design shoes. Most of the black orthopedic shoe makers in this country were trained at Tuskegee. I'm talking about the craft that you need in order to run a whole nation. And you got people here with PhDs that couldn't even design a crutch. People with PhDs, technicians, can't even make a coffin. Can't put the roof on a house. He's got a PhD now, an academic passport. I'm talking about we went wrong educationally. We had wasted too much time in the argument between Booker T. Washington.
On that point, I would actually blame it on the Western education, which was meant to, to train people how to remember stuff, not know how to do stuff. And if you're told how to remember stuff and not know how to have that technical expertise, then you will not be able to rely on yourself. You will continue in that system of indoctrination or manipulation, which has been a system of education worldwide, and you will not be able to do for self. So even when it comes to skills, I agree. We would have only to get that through a proper or a change in the system of education that we do have.
Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois, it wasn't an argument at all, but a difference of opinion between two men, both of them wanting the same thing in a different way. Booker T. Washington had laid down a concept of self-sustaining, self-reliance that was good then, that is good now, and that will be good all over Africa. This is why he had so much attraction in Africa itself. This is why so many Africans not only attended Tuskegee, but tried to erect schools similar to Tuskegee in Africa itself. And this is why nearly everyone failed, because the colonials did not want them to fail. The colonials told Africans, white potatoes will not grow in your country. The British and the Irish was growing most of the white potatoes, and so they needed a market. And they used the African market. And the African didn't even grow potatoes, which could have easily been grown in his own country. And when we come to Du Bois, we have to take Du Bois the way he was. He was a political animal. And what he was teaching, while Booker T. Washington was teaching the structured state, Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois was teaching the political state. I'm saying that it was never a matter then or now as to whether we shall choose Booker T. Washington or W.E.B. Du Bois. It was Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. Both of them needed to be taken on their own level. On the level of self-reliance and basic creative education, we take Booker Washington. On the level of the political state, we take W.E.B. Du Bois. There's no contradiction one to the other. Marcus Garvey would broaden the base of all of this by advocating a total relationship of African people throughout the world, the ultimate Pan-Africanist. And he began to prepare us for the 21st century. Elijah Muhammad, disgruntled with the Christian faith that he grew up in, because it was the faith of his slave master, turned to Islam. He could have turned to Buddhism or Shintoism or any other religion. He just wanted to belong to a religion that he thought was different from Christianity. Islam is not radically different from Christianity.
Exactly the same stems are from the same roots. So even if you wanted to do that, it really was one and the same thing.
Islam came into being so fast. It had to take a few saints from Zoroaster, a few from Judaism, a few from Christianity. It came into being so fast, it created very little, if any, original literature. No great poets of consequence. Not until the emergence of the African Anta, still the greatest single poet produced by Islam. A religion that was simplified. One of the reasons why it could spread so fast. It was very simple, not complicated, no catechism. And there was a strange kind of a crude equality within this religion. Partly still there. If they're beating you for being an infidel, and if in the midst of this you cry out allegiance to Allah, then they stop beating you and give you the whip they were using on you. Then you take your whip and join another thug and go beat somebody else into submission. You're equal to.
If you go to West Africa, you will find that most of West Africa is really predominantly Muslim, and I believe this is what was happening. Like a Dr. Andy Cracker says, it was a simplified religion, and without a lot of complications. Maybe That is why it did spread fast, and the people have still held on to that. But I hope people wake up and realize that this is a religion that also stems from the same with that of the oppressor's religion.
The thug who was beating you because you were not a Christian, a Muslim. Now that you're a Muslim, you can go out and beat somebody else. You don't have the same equality in Christianity. You cry you're Christian all you want to, but ain't no white man gonna join you to go beat another white man who's not a Christian. He ain't gonna do it. Elijah Muhammad created a rough-hued Islam that resembles Islam like mist resembles rain. And yet he created a workable Islam that attracted a whole lot of people and made a whole lot of people feel whole again and complete again. People who had given up on themselves began to have faith in themselves again. He made a major contribution to the rescue of thousands of African people who otherwise would not have been rescued. He did not have to steal from the little church or the big church, the little lodge or the big lodge. The people out there that he attracted didn't belong to any of it. They were like the locusts that have no king. There was no head to them, and they were moving without direction, and he gave them direction. Never mind whether he was orthodox or not orthodox. He was orthodox in the sense that he got results, and he made people feel whole again, human beings again. And we need to reconsider him whether we like Islam or not. When I discovered universal spirituality, I knew then that I could take or leave any religion on earth and still be as spiritual as any person that walks this earth. All of it belongs to me one way or the other. And I can go in and out of all of it, pick the values and do the criticism. I don't feel bad about any of it at all, because I have found my own way to personal salvation. It does not interfere with anyone else's. Every single day of my life, I will try to do something for someone other than myself without expecting any material return.
All right. That is a kind of motivation that we also ought to have in this month of September. Not just doing for self, but even doing for others. I do see the Gold Kinder. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, and also the work that you're doing with the Transatlantic Productions. That is one of the videos from the archives on Transatlantic Productions, which is the organization that the Gold Kinder is also part of. And you and Dr. Ellen Clark knew all of them and had a close relationship with Du Bois and Marcus Garvey. And I also saying Black Power is our peace. Good to see you, God Kinderell. That is, yes, I haven't also seen the God Kinderell for a minute, but it's also wonderful to have you right here on the broadcast as well. So I'll play a little bit of this, and then I'll touch on Haiti, and then from that we shall go on to current affairs and what is happening with Chicago, because in Chicago right now they have decided to get into talks with Uber, and also get into talks with Lyft to make sure that the students in the public schools are being, they're getting a right to school, because the drivers have quit, which I was saying will be happening in all other different kinds of careers, not really a line of works. We will have nurses, also not, going along with this mandate and quitting. We shall also have, there will be other different people's jobs will be affected, but what do we do next, or what happens next after that? That is the important question that you should also be addressing right here on the Blackwood Fan Network once we get to that. But let me play a little bit more of this. And then we shall get to that a little bit later.
And whoever God is and wherever he is, if I serve his children, that's tantamount to serving him. All right, now, let's look at the world before we had the difficulty, before we were in what Van Sertima called the 500-year room. How did we get into this 500-year room that we are into right now, dependent on other people to do our thinking? What did happen to our minds, but what more important happened to our nations? Let's look at the world 1400 to 1600. This is the 200-year turning point in world history. This 200-year turning point in world history, when Europe came out of the Middle Ages, came out into the world and wanted to dominate everything. When they were looking for routes to the east, looking for some way to find food. Europe had come out of the Middle Ages, or the Dark Ages, people poor, land poor, and resource poor. They not only began to colonize the world, they began to colonize information about the world. They colonized education, and then they made us forget, but we still have not understood, is that
My job is to make college easier because students have a lot on them. Oh, sorry.
Education has but one honorable purpose, one alone. Everything else is a waste of time. Education is supposed to train the student to be an honorable handler of power. Any education that fails to teach you how to control power is a waste of your time.
I agree 100%, but that is not what is happening now with this system of education that is worldwide, and it's more of a manipulation, and also more of a helping, trying to push people to be submissive to power, not being able to yield power. It's about submitting to power, which is with the European system of education that also has been widely adopted across the continent, and even with the African diaspora. Go to the Caribbean, go to South America, you will find the same kind of an education that is about helping people, be subjected and be controlled, be under authority, be under power.
If you play the piano well, you are controlling power. You're controlling the tune. You're controlling the direction. You're controlling the melody of it. You're bringing in the sound when you want it brought in the manner of your training and choice. So all education that is honest is education for power. We did not see what they were doing to us, and we did not see what they were doing to the world. And we did not see then what we still do not see. Powerful people cannot afford to train you in how to take their power away from them. Education for you in the Western world is a contradiction in terms. If you can't teach that child how to go into the classroom and understand what that bigoted teacher is saying, and that's bigoted most of the time, because the black teachers rapidly disappearing, and many of them in the classroom are not teaching from an Afrocentric point of view. The Western education is from a Eurocentric point of view, a point of view that favors Europe at the expense of the rest of the world. Now, in spite of the fact that they're digging up more and more information, and more white scholars are admitting that Greece was a myth. There was great civilization before Greece, and that Greece was really a stepchild of Nile Valley civilization. Most Europeans still hang on to the Greek myth. Now, in the 16th century, when they moved out into the world, they were looking for honorable trade. But they discovered or believed that they could get more out of the world through slavery. And they turned honorable trade into the slave trade. Let's examine each one of those centuries, then come to the present and see what we're going to do or have to do in the present, in the present time, in order to rectify this situation. Because next week, my subject will be Notes for an African Revolution. I'll just do a whole lot of dreaming. I'll plan how to change the world right before your eyes and hope that you can believe some of it. But let's look at the changing of our world. Egypt had fallen and was bastardized and still is. We have not dealt with bastardization as an aspect of conquest. We have not dealt with sexual conquest. We have not dealt with the use and the misuse of the African woman in relationship to conquerors. We have not dealt with the fact that no conqueror brings civilization. They bring their way of life and they call it civilization. No people ever spread any civilization anywhere at any time. People spread their way of life. And the European came spreading his way of life. He began having colonized history. He colonized an item that still got us trapped. He colonized the image of God. And he began to change the image from black to white. And this took place after the conference at Nicaea, 332 AD. Up to this point, Europeans were basically ignorant of what Christianity was. They're basically ignorant of it now. Because they cannot separate Christianity from Christendom. Temples was not something that you went to a certain day of the week. It was there all of the time. It was, religion was a spirituality.
I think that was a cut a little bit when he was going into the explanation of how they turned, God into their own white image. I would have liked to hear a little bit more. I'll try to see if I can also get that particular part later.
Was the all-encompassing influence in your total existence, even determine your diet sometimes. The European developed a political instrument that I call Christendom. An instrument to justify and rationalize their control of the world. You have to read some books on the conference at Nicaea and the conflict between Europeans and Europeans. And the certain books in the Bible they couldn't deal with. And so they put them on top of a table and they left the room and they said the books that God wanted us to deal with will be on top. And those that God don't want us to deal with will be gone in the morning. This is the origin of the so-called lost books of the Bible. They lost the books that did not say what they wanted said. Especially the book of Mary, which deals with the Immaculate Conception. And they gave the concept of the Immaculate Conception an interpretation that is still basically in error. The African today will see a woman whose reputation is good, whose word is good, and though she might have 9 children, he would say that her reputation is pure, her straight, clean, She speaks the truth. Her mouth is sweet. She is virgin. And that's virgin, and the African says, pure of reputation. That her character has not been violated by fraud. She's got 9 children, but all of those 9 came from an honorable man. She has an honorable relationship, and that relationship was established in full presence of the total community and respected by the total community. He ain't played around, she ain't played around. She is pure, and all of her birth are immaculate conception. Because she has no question about who the father is. He has no question about whether he is the father. There's no rumor about her doing anything impure. There's no proof that she ever broke a word. She is virgin inasmuch as her reputation is clear and clean. And that's the African meaning of it. And the European had to create another meaning. He also had to look at cultures as something that he created and that other people did not know how to create. And he refused to recognize those things in.
When it comes to creation of our European culture, I would bet 100% that there is nothing like European culture. And even if you were to go to their museums and go into what they have done with the appropriation of African culture, it would actually drives the point home that when you talk about the Western culture, is really pilferage or the lifting of African culture and claiming it to be their own. I need Zigna of a Dr. Clark, and also I see General Mosby saying peace and love, everybody. Peace and love to you too. I hope that you are doing well in the UK and that everything is well for you and your family. I got this comment earlier, which is peace and black power. And the thing is, there has been a discussion over African history. Not many places that you will go and find a teaching on African history. What has happened is that people really do it until February, the month of February. That is when people will actually now talk about Black History Month and focus on talking about Black historical culture, Black historical icons. But that is not it. That is far from the essence of a Black history. It has also been, a lot of information has also been hidden. Unless you are going out yourself and looking for it, then you might not be able to find, the real Black history. But I do want to give a quick shout out once again to the Transatlantic Productions. They have also put together an archive that you can check on tapvideos.com. You'll be able to find a little bit of those archives, and most of them are really, really pertinent in terms of understanding of Black history. And also, like I said, Dr. Henry Clark is a man that has also done, that also had done, rest in peace to you. So, but that had also done a lot of, information gathering and research on his material. He is not blabbering on any of these particular points that he is making. Even in his own old age, he was still on point with some of things that he was presenting on. And it's very, very important that you also get to check him out and also celebrate him for the work that he did put together. These are a little bit more of him, and then we shall get into the current affairs.
In the society, spell culture for other people, and he began to co-opt other people's culture wares as his own, while the African was playing with his culture toys. He was creating a concept of culture that related to his conquest. All of this happened in that first century, the 15th. And we go to the 16th. The indentured service system changed to the chattel slavery system. Father Bartholomew de las Casas had already gone to Rome and asked permission to increase the African, especially in the West Indies. And he would say later in his diary, from 12 to 25 million Indians, so-called, was killed. Christopher Columbus is the one that went to Father de las Casas, asking for the increase in the African slave trade. And this increase in the African slave trade was supposed to save the Indians. He wasn't an Indian in the first place. Christopher Columbus started off to the East Indies, ended up in the West Indies, and slapped the word Indian on people. White cabs, people of this nature. Whole Indian nations in the West Indies. You can't find the descendants of 10 pure Indians, West Indian Indians today. And I've looked from island to island where people say that we've got some authentic ones over here. I haven't found any of the authentic ones. Any place.
Oh, killed.
But the disappearance of these people in the 16th century brought us to the 17th century, when England is now into the trade and has made the trade a business and no longer a sloppy business, but a business where the slave stock on the exchange market in England, where absentee ship owners are buying up ships, and because of the different profit, the volume of profit, many times the owners of the ship never saw the ship. That business hired a sea captain, hired a bunch of thugs, and they went out to Africa to capture some slaves. Because they made tremendous profit from this, they did not deal with the fact that many of the sea captains were also thugs. They would load on, say, 350 slaves. They would write 300 in the log. They would stop at a port and sell 50. Put that in their pocket, in the pockets of the other thugs on the ship. Now these statistics are getting lost. This is our Holocaust now. Now when we start our count, we started at 60 million, and we're just beginning to count. 60, not 6. What you have to understand is what our Holocaust was and what their Holocaust was. Their Holocaust was European racism had spin itself out inside of Europe, turned inward on itself. It was a terrible family dispute. So was the French Revolution. It wasn't a revolution at all. So was the American Revolution, not a revolution at all, but a dispute between two branches of the family over who will control, the young one and the old one. The French Revolution was a dispute between two levels of aristocrats. And because the working class people saw these aristocrats chopping off each other's head, they had the illusion that this was being done for them. The condition of the French working class did not improve one iota because of the French Revolution. Now, when we come to the 18th century, new civilization, new ways of life was being developed in the Americas, the Caribbean islands, and eventually in the United States. But the United States is not in existence until a little later. Whole new ways of life, African being in the United States, except in New Orleans, being stripped of his Africanness, his African religion, his African gods. All these things are now being taken away.
When we were talking about New Orleans yesterday or the day before, you were saying that most people that were taken to New Orleans are from the slavery. They tried to hold on to their customs and their traditions, even though they were stripped of these cultures and traditions and also their gods. But they were striving very, very hard to make sure that they keep them in Louisiana, in New Orleans, to hold on to those particular kinds of cultures that came along with from the African continent. Some of them coming from Angola, others are coming from different parts of the continent of Africa. Some of them struggled very, very hard to make sure they held on to these customs and traditions that they came along with.
From the African, his basic African values are being taken away. And yet in the West Indies and in South America, they managed to hold on to more than in the United States, principally because of the buying habits. Now, when we come to the 19th century, we need to pause, because this is the beginning of the Pan-African age. This is the time when Africans the world over began to try to reclaim their African self. It's the period of the great slave revolts in the Caribbean islands, especially Jamaica and in Haiti. Period of the revolts in Brazil, Palmares, and Bahia.
In Haiti, of course, they put in a lot of work to fight against these crackers, the French.
Period of the last aspect of the Barbese revolt in what is now Guyana. The period of the so-called Bush Negro revolt, not only throughout the Guyana, but throughout the top of South America. Period of escaped slaves and the independent blacks in the Caribbean islands and in the United States. The period when Prince Hall would bring into being the Black Masons, he called the African Lodge. The period of cooperation between Caribbean freedom fighters and Black American freedom fighters. The period when the British technician in the West Indies would either lose out or die out, and the local African technician would come into ascendancy, being skilled in the fixing of mills and wheels, sugar mills and the like, wagon masters. This is the beginning of the Caribbean free man, now making an alliance with the Black American free man in New England. This is how Prince Hall from Barbados got here, Peter Ogden from Antigua, who found the Odd Fellows, John B. Ruswam, another Jamaican, one of the editors of Freedom Journal, Robert Campbell, another Jamaican, who went with Martin Delany to search for a place for the settlement. And yet, it is in the 19th century that African people the world over began to try to reclaim their concept of nationhood. Because this is something we would lose in the 20th century. And this is something we are confused about right now. Whether we shall be a part of something that belongs to others or establish something that is distinctly our own.
What has happened with the African is that many people have prefer to be part of something that belongs to others, not wanting to put in the work to make it for ourselves. And I do see the census. The census are in here big time. Especially big up to Dr. Clark. I went blind and speaking truth. Yes, he did. And peace to all the ancestors. We are them, and they are us. Stay fearless and dangerous. Exactly. People won't tell you to stay easy, but you should also stay dangerous at the end of the day. But nonetheless, I will share that link. We might not be able to play the whole presentation or the whole lecture by Dr. Henry Clark, but I will share with us a link so that you can check it out a little bit later on. There's also, I believe, another part of that particular presentation. He was teaching and he was doing it right. What he was speaking about is information that has been researched over many years, I believe, and it's credible information. You cannot really go wrong with Dr. Henry Clark's teachings, because he has gotten to we invest a lot of time in doing the research on all that. Nonetheless, I wanted to speak briefly on Haiti. And in Haiti, what is happening in Haiti is that people are still stuck with their religion. You will find people in churches praying over things that they could also actually get to get their minds together and do at the end of the day. Unite in unison and do something for themselves instead of just waiting for white Jesus to come on board and solve the problem after the earthquake that did hit them. So the churches in Haiti after the earthquake are still trying to comfort and help. That is the kind of a situation you will find in Haiti. People still going to pray over.
Can you hear me now, Spikes?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
I'm saying in Haiti, the churches, of course, were broken because of the earthquake that did take place. But I was saying, because of these attachments to religion, the people of Haiti might as well pray over things that they can also do for themselves. You can unite together and help do a few things for the community instead of just going here outside on these particular rambles and stay on the side. You will see these are individuals. Some of them are very keen, like these one are sitting on the same. They are sitting on the same seat right here. And the problem is, I think this has to do with the matter of also the hopelessness. That is why you will find people trying to find something they can also hold on to. And when they are told that wages is coming from the skies to also make some delivery for them, they will be happy.
Jesus never comes. Everything else gets fucked up, but this cracker never comes out the clouds. Cracker never comes out the clouds. You Haitians, I know you don't know your own history. You had a bunch of mulattoes that betrayed you. And destroyed your country 200 years ago. Destroyed you. So they gave the mulattoes gave you back white Jesus. The crackers put the mulattoes in power. They did vicious shit to you as African people, and you've never recovered. You've been mired in poverty and bullshit, and white Jesus never came back for your ass. The African's the only one that still worships some shit that don't work. You see, it ain't worked for you 200 years. It don't work.
When Dessalini was leading them to the fighting over this cracker, that was working. That was working for them. But,
they told them, get them back to white Jesus. We're gonna help free other African countries in the Caribbean and on the continent, whatever. But the mulatto class want to be close to white mommy. White, they said, no, we want to be French. The French couldn't stand their ass either. We want to be mostly French and not black, and so we'll kill Dessalines and drag his body through the streets and shit and give you back the country. And the country's been impoverished ever since.
And even in this poverty, I don't think the French will be letting them, not pay, because the French were paying. They were getting reparations from Haiti. So even
you see the French don't let the Haitians go to France, do you? You see them? Why don't do the Haitians got French passports? Spikes? Hell no. Do the Haitians got French passports?
They don't. I don't think they do. But I'm saying that they will.
Let me tell you, I don't want you to think the answer is hell no. They don't. You ain't got to think the answer is hell no.
They don't. There was one Haitian who was, I think he was a general. He was going to have a negotiation with the French. Where in the French.
You're talking about Toussaint Overture. I can work with the French. I was raised by the French. I learned how to do everything with the French. They will trust me and they will love me. Okay, stupid. They locked his ass up and they locked this dumb nigga ass up and they starved him to death. There you go, dumb nigga, get in that cell.
I bet he had this.
It's the moronic shit. He had his come to Jesus moment when he was sitting in that cell and they were starving his ass to death. I guess these white people don't like me. Yes, dummy.
That is a realization of what.
When Napoleon had his black ass sitting in the cell spikes and he was starving to death, he came to his come to Jesus moment and said, I guess these white people really don't like me.
He was wondering, he was crying like that. The guy, the FedEx a guy who was saying he doesn't understand why they hate him. But let me share a little bit on the sentiments on Haiti. These are by one Kevin, the rival from Haiti on his 2 cents regarding the situation of Haiti.
It's a book to help people to tap into their divinity, to embrace it, acknowledge it, to find their light and keep their light shining. It's definitely a self-reflective type book. Hopefully it gets me on Oprah. Definitely believing in that. And The Courage to Believe is the book that started everything. It's an inspirational autobiography about my life and how I overcame adversity through the help and assistance of the Creator, blessing me and the overwhelming amount of adversity that I've been able to overcome. And actually this book is also the name named after my nonprofit, The Courage to Believe International, where we help inspire our youth to learn how to play chess, be proactive thinkers, be intentional and purposeful with every move they make, and to understand that life is chess, not checkers. So we started a nonprofit years ago. You have Suzanne Belazaire. She was also a sergeant within the Haitian Army. So you can call her one of the four mothers of the Haitian Revolution. There's so many countless heroes. There's not enough time in the world to go over all of them. However, they were able to defeat white supremacy and to debunk that theory that black people were inferior. This was done during the height of slavery. You're talking about late 18th century, early 19th century. The war in Haiti, the Haitian Revolution, started roughly around 1790 to 1803. It claimed our independence in 1804. Now, some historians claim that the revolution started in 1791, but we're not going to tip the tat on the exact date. But we do know it's August 27th, August 22nd, either 1790, 1791, and the French, they defeated the French occupied Saint-Domingue. Saint-Domingue is today's Haiti. You know, Haiti is in the western part of the island of Hispaniola, and the Dominican Republic is on the eastern part of the island. What many people don't know is that once upon a time, the whole island used to be one island.
They ever freed the Dominicans. The Dominicans wanted to go back to Spain. Please, Spanish, please, white daddy in Spain, take us back. These wretched niggas freed us. We don't want to be free. Please take us back, Spain. Like, damn.
They wanted the Española. They wanted the Española. They wanted to have the Española right there.
You know, the whole island to be one. You know, this is something that the French did not like, because it was a direct defiance against General Napoleon Bonaparte's orders, which was for Toussaint to only rule, be the governor of Haiti. They didn't want him messing with the Spanish side that was run by Spain of the DR. Now, why is that so significant? The fact that Haiti was able to, one, defeat the French, the British, and the Spain, you know, almost at the same time. This was a General Toussaint Louverture was a chess playing king. He was a master at the game of power. You know, he understood that there was no contemporary, there was no one like him at his time. He was a man ahead of his time. And it's almost criminal that our children aren't taught this history regarding the African Haitians that was able to defeat, you know, the superpowers of the time, you know. And this battle was so significant. The victory that General Toussaint led with his soldiers was, imagine a black man leading 20,000, 40,000 black soldiers. Majority of the army were all black, but he did have officers that were French, white men, French, German, Polish within his army, you know. So to have a black man lead, you know, and have white men take orders from him, that was unthinkable. It was unthinkable then at the time. It's unthinkable now to this day. But this is how powerful and how much of a charisma that General Toussaint Louverture had. And so by him having the ability to overthrow slavery, take off the shackles, throw them away, this made him an icon at the time. You know, you have people like Frederick Douglass, who wrote a 4-hour speech at the World Fair discussing, you know, Toussaint's greatness and the privilege that black people were able to enjoy at the time was thanks to the Haitian Revolution, our ancestors back then. So he was always an advocate and promoting, you know, he's also ambassador to Haiti from the US, but he was always advocating for people to move to Haiti. Haiti was known as Freedom Land. You know, Freedom Land. If you were able to get to Haiti, no matter where you came from, whether you came from Jamaica, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, whether you was coming out of the Bahamas, Dutch, any of the Europeans who were taking over the land, who were colonizing different lands around the world, if you can escape, even the colonies in America, if you can escape and get to and touch the ground of Haiti, you were free. This highly agitated the presidents, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, both who spent roughly about $500,000. You know, you're talking about, you know, 1795, you know, like very late 18th century. That's equivalent of, who knows, what is that, $20 million? They spent a lot of money. They spent a lot of money at that time to try to help France, led by Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, to defeat the Haitians, to defeat the blacks. And Napoleon said himself, you know, I want to stop the march of the blacks in the world. Now, those who don't know who the general, well, he was a general at one time, but the Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte was, he's also the first consul of France. You know, he was the emperor. He crowned himself emperor of France. You know, this guy, you know, he led I call him the godfather of white supremacy. As a matter of fact, I just did a presentation with the Haitian American Museum of Chicago a couple weeks ago, titled General Toussaint Louverture versus Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. Who was the greater leader? So I went to depth into what Napoleon represented and also what Toussaint represented. But Napoleon having the wealth of down there all Europe, because him and his soldiers, they straight pillage all of Europe and try to take over Africa. He lost in the pyramids, the Battle of the Pyramids in Egypt. They did find a Rosetta Stone. They blew off the noses of the pharaohs. Napoleon's men blew off the noses of the pharaohs because when they seen that the noses were wide, that the noses were big in Egypt, they knew that this meant that these people, these ancient people, ancient high culture civilization, these people were superior to all of the world, pretty much. So, and knowing that these people had to be black because of their wide noses and cheeks, so they blew off the noses, right? So this is the type of power Napoleon had. Being able to, he did a coup d'etat in France and coup d'etat in France, took over France, became the emperor, the first consul, and now he wanted to make sure that he's already taken over the eastern part of the world. Now let's make sure that we maintain power and possession in the western part of the world, and that's why Haiti played such a big part. But when he lost that war against Haiti, against General Toussaint Louverture, which he kidnapped and tortured in the dungeons of France, starved him to death. He died of pneumonia. General Toussaint died of pneumonia and starvation. They give him like one or two pieces of wood to keep warm. He's on this mountain and freezing to death. They stripped him of his uniform, gave him clothes of a criminal. They did not honor him. They did not honor General Toussaint like he did the French soldiers and the French POWs who were locked up in Haiti. He treated them with respect. He fed them, and because he wanted to always keep peace with France. He always wanted to be in good terms with France. Besides, he was doing business with France. Napoleon respected his position as governor. At some point in time, he wanted him to rule Haiti as governor underneath the French flag.
That would be, of course, just being playing as a puppet. If he was to agree, to rule Haiti as a governor under Napoleon, that would just be him, doing that puppet work and moving things, resources from Haiti into France, even if they eventually did kill him.
Right, so to speak. But when he realized Toussaint wrote the first constitution, when the first black countries, obviously the first black countries write a constitution, when the first countries write a constitution in 1801 in the Western Hemisphere, after the United States, who wrote theirs in 1776, after American independence against Britain, France only acknowledged Toussaint's power because they didn't want him to join forces with Britain, because Toussaint was out doing business with Britain, which was something that Napoleon and France did not like, because that's their arch enemy. You know what I'm saying? So, but the fact that he was able to do business with Britain, he was doing business with Spain, mind you, which I didn't mention, Haiti was the pearl of the Antilles. What does that mean? It was the pearl of the Caribbean. It was the most profitable country.
And also making a lot of wealth. Right now, if you look at Haiti, you will have a disconnect between what has happened over those many years from being one of the wealthy nations in that part of the world to being now one of the most poorest, and one of the most dependent on the European and the USA for aid every other time there is a situation in Haiti.
Colony, of course, you have about, I want to say roughly about 10 million at this time, 10 million Africans enslaved into the Caribbean. Majority of them were in Haiti. So you have about 40 to 1. The odds were like 40 to 1, 40 enslaved Africans. I don't call our ancestors slaves. I always say enslaved. So I always correct people when they say that. They had roughly at any given time 500 to 600,000 enslaved Africans. And you only have possibly maybe 20, 30,000 whites and mulattoes. So the numbers were definitely in the Haitians' favor to take over. But just like an elephant, you can have an elephant in captivity for years, on a chain. You take off that chain, the elephant will still act as if it's in chains.
Right.
So even in America, in the colonies, 13 colonies, they could have, our ancestors here in America could have revolted. You know what I'm saying? There was plenty of revolts in Tortuga. That was started by Brother Tula, who this was a colony that was operated by the Dutch, and this small island, they revolted. Jamaica had the Tacky Rebellion, which was a very big rebellion. They almost beat the British. So there were opportunities for our ancestors many of them fought. But the only reason why Haiti was successful is because of the statesmanship and brilliancy of General Toussaint Louverture. As a matter of fact, I would debate anybody. I'm gonna say this right quick. I would debate anybody, any scholar. I don't care how many doctorate degrees you have, how many historical degrees you have, how long your tenure been at a university.
That is, brother, heavily expanding a little bit more on the revolution and some of the players, the key players in that revolution in Haiti and why it was really successful in those times. But look at how far down it has actually come up. And precise one for it, you're saying it is easy to overthrow a government when you outnumber them. Brother Lando, what you saying? What's up, more? It's good to see your presence today, and also likewise.
I don't know if that's true.
You
better ask South Africa. They outnumber all the white people. They never overthrew no damn body. Shit, it ain't that. Black people always docile, scared. So that ain't true. That ain't true. Shit. It'd be nice to be true, but why then if you're saying that, why do other people come to Africa and dominate African people then? Why the Chinese in there? Why like 5 Chinese in the country dominating them then? Shit. Ask yourself that.
Also for the Japanese, I think they had taken over China. Well, they had the numbers. The Chinese had the numbers, but they were still under.
Yeah, Chinese had the number. The Japanese still took it over. Exactly right. You got to have a warrior spirit. Years. You ain't got no war spirit in Africa, but you got people coming and smack you in the fucking head and smack you in your fucking face in your own land. You got no warrior code. And you bow to people. Shit. They said, hey, no more bowing to crackers. No more goddamn holding our head down. These people are wicked. He said these people are wicked and evil. And we got to murder them. Africans don't ever talk about, oh, we got to be friends, we got to forgive and try to work it out and understand them and why they're doing these things. All that dumb shit. No, Haiti said we got to kill these motherfuckers. They're wicked and they're evil. We got to give them back their white Jesus and treat them. They kill one of us, we kill 20 of them. And we got to kill off all the coons.
And I see a comment by Brother Lando Winter. You're saying there has been more defeats of the European during a slave trade than has been reported in history books. Our losses was due to tribalism on the plantation. I would also agree with that. Once again, our enslavement continued because of the two things, which is a miscegenation and tribalism based from our social and genetically engineered practices on our ancestors to create the perfect feeble-minded. And the Haiti Revolution was successful because of the unity, spirituality, and also the killings of their traitors. We always do say, as a black people, it has been, we have not had the dealing over the traitors, and that is why there are no consequences for traitors, especially on the African continent. Even if we have people, who have who have been traitors and have betrayed the rest of the community. For example, we were saying in Nigeria, there was the matter of some of the people that were collaborating with these slave traders. You will find some people. Some of them were thieves. Some of them were in different ranks, but they were traitors. They did betray the people and also help. They helped the colonizers.
They helped the colonizers and slaves. Then the slavers came back and colonized their ass. And the traders, Africans. They said the whole thing. African to sell you out for a chicken sandwich.
So, but there wasn't. The point is, there was no dealing with these traitors. They were just let us scot free, and therefore the same thing has continued for a very, very long time. But yes, people should also go back into history in Haiti, and also the Africans on the continent.
You're supposed to make examples of your traitors. When somebody betrays you, you're supposed to make an example out of them. You're supposed to kill them in front of everybody. You're supposed to make an example out of them. The African has not learned that and won't do it. Your traitors, you're supposed to make an example out of. You either torch his ass in front of everybody, or you put a bullet in his head, in his mouth, or whatever. But you do it in front of everybody. You gather the crowd, Ross, and this is what happens to you when you betray us and you betray the cause of African people. This is the kind of dirt nap you get. And then you show yourself throwing his ass in an unmarked, shallow grave. Unmarked, shallow grave. You let the buzzards pick at his motherfucking bone or at her bone. You show this is the
and
cause.
that should be a public.
This is the cause for betrayal.
The mafias do that. I know in Italy, they will do that. They will make a public spectacle of any traitors that have been involved with that, betraying. These are mafia families. But on the contrary,
all of them do that. Not just the mafia. All other races do that. The only one that don't do it is the African. All other races do that. And you make a damn spectacle out of your traitor. You don't want nobody betray your cause and then go free. And, oh well, nothing ever happens to him, and we forgive him. All that old dumb shit. That's why the African keeps being betrayed by African people. He hasn't made an example of. Go ahead.
The same thing that happens even with corruption. There are no one is really ever held accountable.
That's the same thing. You doing corruption to the country is being a traitor. That's right. They know nothing's ever held. That's why you got Kenyatta trying to get power some more. He must be like other African. I haven't done shit. I've stolen from the country. I'm a puppet, but I want to be in more power. Let me rephrase this. And we call it the BBI, where I want to hold on the power and see if the Kenyan people would be stupid enough to say, yes, we create another office for me so I can stay more and more in power.
That has been squashed. The prospects of him are really holding on to power has been squashed. But I'm
glad they squashed it. I'm proud of the Kenyan people that know that this no good bastard ain't done nothing. They try to be slick and still try to hold on to power. I'm glad the Kenyan people say, hell no, you ain't slick.
So there will not be any position being made for him. K. Williams is saying people have nothing but enemies on this planet, including from within. There is no love, and that is a problem. We do have the people. Nonetheless, let us go all the way. There has been one individual who did decide to go and harass a presenter, an NBC presenter, and this is another white supremacy. This is another Karen, if I might call them so.
Let's get to
and when there was a reporting over the matter of the Hurricane Ida, there was this heckler. And some, these are white supremacies that came trying to harass the news presenter. There has been an arrest warrant that has been put out by the Mississippi police. And let me just share a little bit of this so you can see what was going on with the situation right there.
Brewster, and I believe Shaq's in Mississippi. Shaq, what part of Mississippi are you in, and what are you seeing?
Gulfport. We're in Gulfport, Mississippi, Craig, and I'll tell you the biggest sign, the biggest indicator that I saw this morning about the force of the storm last night is that the mail delivery has returned. We saw postal workers going out delivering mail this morning. Just a couple of minutes ago, people were walking their dogs. They're back on the beach right now, and that's the sense that you're getting, that the rain has stopped, the wind is still going there. I think we even have a random person going around. I'm going to turn this way because, we deal with some people every once in a while. But, one thing that we are noticing is that the mayor said the curfew is still in effect. The curfew is going to be going on for at least until a period of time in which they can go ahead and go and survey all the damage. They did get some reports of some down power lines, of some trees that have fallen, or at least limbs that have fallen. So they're going to go ahead and do that survey to make sure that they're okay. Craig, I'm going to toss it back to you because we have a person who needs a little help right now.
What the hell is she doing?
Hey.
This is an old.
What was she doing?
It's an old. It's a dude. It's actually a man who is heckling at the news reporter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a dude heckling at a news reporter and harassing them when they are on live TV. This is what white supremacy do.
Hey, what are you doing? I'm reporting the weather of the hurricane. You get your black ass out of here. It never changed. That's who these no good bastards are. It's hilarious. Even in the middle of a hurricane, even in the midst of a hurricane, that still don't matter.
Hey.
This is about the journalists are almost getting smacked in the face. Getting smacked in the face.
Hey. Negro, you know the studio, you're not gonna say nothing because they'll fire your black ass too. Hey. Calm down, Mr. White Man. Calm down. We're being like, hey.
This is what you're reporting, and the white supremacy will not take it.
We can't come a hurricane without being called an old dirty nigga. Hey, dirty nigga, get off the beach.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy. And Bill Cairns, thank you as well. Again, we'll make sure Shaq's okay. I do want to note here for a moment, you probably saw or heard a few moments ago, one of our correspondents was disrupted by some wacky guy during his live shot there in Mississippi. Please report that Shaquille Brewster is doing just fine. Shaq, he's okay.
And there has been, of course, the arrest warrant that has been issued against that cracker. He was not even taking the updates from these black.
Please, all they do, they arrest him. Say, hey, good job. Go home now. Go home. Don't do it on public TV. Don't do it on public TV. You know, it looks bad.
Yeah, go do it in private. That is exactly what they want to say. Go do it in private.
That's right.
Not on national TV. So, Mississippi police have issued an arrest warrant for Tuesday for an higher man. Who say they confronted the NBC News Shaquille Brewster on live television. The man, Benjamin Eugene Dagley of Worcester, Ohio, will be charged with 2 counts of simple assault, 1 count of disturbing the peace, and 1 count of violating an emergency curfew. The Gulfport police said, according to a statement issued by these Mississippi police, he could also be in violation of his probation in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, if he traveled without authorization, according to police. He had not been arrested by late Tuesday afternoon, and he could not be immediately reached at publicly listed telephone numbers. His wife in Ohio declined to comment. The court documents in Ohio show that 54-year-old pleaded guilty to vandalism, including panic and attempted assault, stemming from a 2017 commercial break-in. He was sentenced to 5 years probation and 30 days in jail to go along with a $5,000 fine and a $10,000 restitution to Cleveland Platin. So this is a cracker that is doing all the wrong things, and
he ain't going to no damn jail. 30 days. Hey, the jail's messed up because of the hurricane. We're gonna let him sit at home for 30 days and chill. And mind his P's and Q's. Hey man, we got you now. You call him nigga off the camera, stupid. Not on the camera, off the camera. We don't, we call them dirty niggas all the time at the precinct. So hey, just do it off the camera, stupid. Oh, okay, Bob, I got you. Bob, off the camera.
But I do see the comments from Aaron. You saying, make sure this is on a Spreaker or the network. Yes, it will be Aaron James. You will find it right after these particular podcasts on Spreaker as well, and also on Spotify.
He's got to put it on. I keep telling him to put him on Spreaker because I always put it on private now. I just like to put it on Spreaker, so you guys got to go to. So you guys go to Spreaker. You can go to Sound. Spotify or all podcasting networks, and it's on there.
And I see. Yes, Dominica, you were saying you would have beat down. He packed that track quick. Wacky my ass. That is saying there's a lot of wacky white supremacies out there. These Neanderthals are losing it. Our very presence disturbs them because their time is up. And I agree with you 100%.
They are losing. They're going crazy. Hey, sir, it's a major hurricane. People have died in their houses. I don't care, you dirty nigga. You're a nigga, and you're a nigga, you're a nigga, you're a nigga. What's that got to do with the hurricane and people have now lost their homes or struggling? It means that you're a nigga. That's what it means.
But yes, I do hope that you get some time in itself. So let me also go into what is happening now with Chicago, because in Chicago right now things are with a lot of right foot. I'll actually even getting crazier in Chicago right now, as there has been at the public schools, students not being able to get to school in the first day of the reopening of the schools. Because of the drivers. The drivers have decided they have decided to quit. They have said they will not be going along with this whole job mandate. And right now, as it is,
damn right, Chicago bus drivers, but damn right, fuck the little kids. Let them walk to school. Fuck them. Fuck them. Let them walk, or let them homeschool their ass. I'm not taking that shit. To drive nobody, no fucking on no bus making $3 a damn hour. Fuck out of here. Nope. That's right. Let the little kids, let them little bastards walk to school.
I was saying for other different also professionals in other different line of work. For example, the nurses. We have had many nurses also do quit. I hope the same happens when it gets to September 14th, because there was I'm not sure whether he's still holding up the mandate that was given to the military, the servicemen.
No, that's not going to work, Spikes. Nope. That's not going to work. Because a mandate is not legal. A mandate is not legal. And they've already told that dumbass Negro to resign, that dumbass puppet nigga up in there. I'm the first black secretary of defense. So what, nigga? They told you, get your black ass out the office, you goopy puppet ass Negro. Resign, nigga. Resign, because ain't nobody taking that shit. Ain't nobody being for it's not a law. You can't mandate shit to me. It's not lawful. They can't mandate shit to them. So kick rocks. Kick rocks. That's what you do. You stick the needle up your own black funky ass. That's what you do. Needle your own stuff in the ass. Go ahead.
Otherwise, if they try to force these on the military as well, there will be a lot of them quitting.
And it's funny, you got the police in Chicago, New York, told them, fuck, I'm not taking this shit. Kick rocks. Oh, why did I? Oh, are you gonna come after the police? You know, police are the ones that prop up white supremacy. Are you gonna come after your beloved crooked ass police departments? Will you? Will you?
They will not touch. But in Chicago, you remember last week we were saying that in Chicago we do have them are saying that people will not be allowed to come in, or there will be a quarantine for a couple of days for people who are coming in from other states. And we were saying that is also illegal because
that's against the Constitution. That ain't gonna hold. Just like the judge who took away that lady's baby in Chicago, they told her, you better get some act right. You'll get the fuck off the bench, motherfucker. You don't got the right to tell some woman they can't see their child because they're not vaccinated. You get your ass out the bitch. That's what you do. People are finally starting to understand their rights and their laws. What is lawful? You can't mandate me. Tell me I can't see my kid because you decide you want me to get a vaccination. Motherfucker, you'll get off the bitch. That's what you'll do. We'll drag your ass off the bitch. What are you talking about? And all of a sudden, when they told him they're going to get rid of his ass,
let me play a little bit on this so that you can see what happened.
Drivers upset with that.
They said, I'm going to overturn this. Hold on, Spikes. Can't you hear me?
Okay, can you hear now?
I'm going to overturn this damn law. Yeah. They said, the judge, the corrupt ass judge, I made a mistake. I'm going to overturn the judgment I made. Yeah, you overturn it, dummy. They told you they're going to throw your ass out of office, motherfucker. You ain't doing that to goodness of your heart. The people said they're going to throw your ass out of office. And they meant it. We'll get rid of your ass. Now you got some act right. They put some act right on your corrupt ass. We'll get rid of your ass. Oh, I made a mistake. I overstepped my boundaries. Oh, you didn't know that when you were issuing that fake ass judgment that you were overstepping your jurisdiction? You didn't know that? So now people are gonna have to learn how to fight and smash these motherfuckers in the mouth because you got a corrupt system controlled and created by the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. I'm glad a lot of people know who's the power behind the goddamn curtain. Who's the fucking wizard behind this land called ours? Go ahead, Spikes.
No, just saying that that reminds me of the other judge that did lock up one of these kids that had not finished the assignment and locked her up for I don't know how long. And then I went back on that case and receded that decision. And she said it was wrong to have locked up that kid. It was a teenager from one of the schools that had not finished her assignment. That reminds me of the other judge. That judge that was also involved with that case. But let me play a little bit over this so that we can see what's happening.
Vaccination requirements throw a wrench into the start of the school year. They quit, leaving thousands of kids and parents scrambling to find new ways to get to class. CBS 2's Chris Ty is live right now at Chopin Elementary School on the west side, where the district is working on solutions for an issue likely to stay around a while.
Everything will collapse, family. All you gotta do is walk out.
Yeah.
Hey, about you being a nurse, you want to take the jab, walk out. The whole healthcare system will collapse. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it.
And
you hold
also,
the power. Understand? You hold the power. That's what you got. Stop being afraid of shit.
You remember last week I shared a list of companies that have actually mandated, they have actually made it compulsory for their staff to get the job. Some of them are included. Was it BlackRock? Yeah, BlackRock and among other.
BlackRock owns it all, which is owned by Vanguard, which is owned by the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. Yeah, so they own all of it. So what? Walk out and let the shit implode. They don't care, but they don't got all the money. They don't care to it. So what? Walk out. Walk out.
That is
told you have your own garden. Start growing. That's why they want you to grow a garden. That's why some states every time it's illegal for you to have a garden. All kind of crazy shit. You grow a garden. You don't fucking deal with their medical system. It's nothing but all poison. If you eat clean, you wouldn't get all these diseases. Reason why? And it's fun. You got the white lady finally admitting how Ebola and AIDS got into Africa. But I already told you. I already knew it. It was a bioweapon that they created in the lab in Fort Detrick to ship to Africa in the name of a vaccine, giving people Ebola and AIDS. You mean these dumbass leaders didn't never know that they didn't never figured out? They didn't give a fuck about it. That's why you don't listen to no African leader. They're all fucked up. They're all puppets and they're dangerously fucked up. They are complicit in murder of African people. AIDS was brought to you by a vial in a vaccination, just like that fucking Ebola. Didn't come from no goddamn nature. Every time they find some new minerals in Africa, guess what? Ebola comes. Oh, he got new diamonds and everything. Oh, there's a new strain of Ebola. It's Ebola. Ebola guacamole. It's the guacamole strain of Ebola. It's deadly. It's the deadly guacamole strain. Ah, guacamole.
The same has been happening in South Africa. Yesterday, I talked about a new strain. I don't think they have given it a name already, but they will even have a rumble on just like
that. There's a new strain of Bush. It's a new strain of. They don't got nothing to really test it. They can't say it's but this. Let's go along with the hoax. The PCR test can't test for nothing, and the creator told you that. The person who created the shit said you can't use this, and everybody knows that. How are they testing for these new variants? The Delta, the Lambda, Nu, the Goo-Doo-Doo-Doo, the Hoodoo-Voodoo, the Shmoo-Doo-Loo-Doo variant, the Hotep No-Snap variant, the Knick-Knack-Toe variant, the Patty-Rack variant.
At some point, they will run out of these Greek characters. They will run out of these Greek characters for the variant.
They're still trying to give you fear. You got to stay when you know what's going on. They can't get you with the fear. That's why they got to keep blocking videos, taking down channels, because too much right information is getting out. People are losing their fear. Once you lose your fear, they lose their power.
True.
As soon as you learn to understand that, so that's why the bus people said, "Fuck it, fuck it, we're quitting. Go find somebody else to drive these raggedy ass buses around Chicago, make $2 an hour." Hey, oh shit! Now we're scrambling. Oh, there's no bus system. Oh, what are we gonna do? Well, you better homeschool you. Better homeschool your kids, hood rats. Hey, you gotta do some work, hood rats. You got to homeschool you. It means you're gonna have to learn some shit to teach your children. We know you're a dummy, so you got to learn something to teach your children. You gotta put some in your empty head to put some in your children's head. How about that? You gotta actually open a book. How about that? You gotta open a book. Oh, watch out. COVID's in the book.
But what is happening is the drivers, yes, exactly. They say, fuck it. And this is what is happening.
Elementary school on the west side, where the district is working on solutions for an issue likely to stay around a while. Chris.
It is likely.
I'm mandating everybody to drive a bus. I'm mandating you to drive this bus so you'll get this vaccination to mandate that too. Fuck out of here. We got new ordinance spikes, and we're mandating bus drivers can't walk off. They got to mandate that they got to drive. What? Yes, they got to drive, and they got to get jabbed. Fuck out of here. Kick rocks. Go ahead, Spikes. You play it. Oh, Spikes, did you pause? Did you freeze, Spikes? Action up here, shit. Come on, stupid. You knew the line started back there, dummy. Fuck is wrong with you? Come on, dummy. Get over. Shit. Fucking moron. Bum, bum, bum. I lost Spikes. Anyway, that's a good deal. The power is yours. You don't let them threaten you with jobs and all that shit. Fuck a job. You can't get it. You can't work when you're dead. All that old fear shit they use. Fuck it then. These ain't my kids. Let somebody else take their ass to school. Shit, what the hell do I care? Ain't my job to drive their ass on no bus. Man, that's a fat ass cop. Damn, how you pass the physical? I know my damn business line. Get out of here. But shout out to those people in Chicago. Fuck it. Fuck it. We said no. You're not mandating shit for us. We're gonna mandate that you, if you take these poor ass jobs that don't pay you shit, and stressful with these little rabbit ass bastards on here. We're gonna now. Damn, there's another action up here. God damn, how many actions out of here? Now we're gonna mandate you take the vaccine. We're here. Here go your fucked up bus keys. Here they go. Here you go. Oh, they fuck this job. Take your bus keys, damn it. Take them. We're gonna scare you. You're not gonna be able to drive a bus anymore if you don't get vaccinated. Okay, well here go your fucking keys. Here go your shit. Here go your shit right here. I'm living the life being a bus driver. I was living the life in Chicago. I was living the dream. You know, start standing up. Like in LA, you got to give it a whole council there. Oh, that Spike's back. Oh, that Spike's. I think that Spike's is back. You might. Days of being fearful is over. Just like in Canada, you got to say no. Trudeau talking about you can't get on the damn bus. You can't. Fuck all that shit. You got to get rid of that goofball. You got to get rid of his ass. You got to say no. Power is you. People, the powers of the people. Not these fake ass bought off elected officials. They don't represent. They surely don't represent them. People said they don't want no vaccine. The bus company said, "Oh well, so what? So what? We're gonna tell you to take it anyway." Motherfucker, I done told you I don't want the shit. That's what I told your ass. You're not mandating shit to me. You know, I mandate that you kick rocks. That's what you do.
And I think there was some the parents were actually shocked, and some there have been some reprieve to them because there will be money being given to them to help them offset these challenges. These challenges with the transport system. But
I wouldn't give a shit. I wouldn't give a shit about them being shocked. They shouldn't be shocked. Why would you be shocked? You think I'm gonna take some shit against my will? I'm shocked that they wouldn't do it. I'm shocked that they wouldn't want to take my little bastard to school and take a vaccination to take my little bastard to school. Fuck you and your bastard, lady. That's That's my damn that's my penance. Fuck you and your bastard.
I don't see the law. Sorry, the mayor in Lorry Lightfoot. I was saying that she is in talks with various ride-sharing companies, including Uber and Lyft. But there has also been that particular.
You don't got the money. You don't got the money, Beetlejuice. You don't got the money, Beetlejuice, to cover the whole city, Beetle. You don't got the money to pay people a real livable wage to come and drive no bus, Beetlejuice. So you can stop that shit. You can stop that. The school bus system in Chicago is officially stopped. Now these little bastards got to walk miles to school, which they're not going to do. Or you go out to homeschool them. Ain't nobody walking in no Chicago at 14 below zero this winter. Shit, how cold, man? It's like 15 degrees out here. Shit, it's fucking snow, cold ass air. Shit.
The 73 over these drivers they said, well, just fuck it, will not be working anymore.
That's right. They said fuck it. That's right, Mike. They said fuck it. You'll get the vaccination or you won't work. Okay, fuck it. Okay, bye. We out. And people like, what? They said they out. What am I gonna do with little Larry? Little Larry, I don't want. Half y'all don't even like your kids. Ah, damn, little Larry, got to spend the day with your no good ass. Oh, little Larry. I'm tired of looking at you. I've been looking at your ass all summer. I'm tired of you, little Larry.
But also talking about the mandate. I understand that there are people who have walked away from the FDA, and these are top officials at the FDA that have decided also to leave. There are some officials from the FDA that have also decided to leave, and I do believe this comes in the wake of the quote unquote approval, the approval by the quote unquote approval of the Pfizer jab. So two top FDA vaccine regulators are set to depart during a crucial period, and these are two of these two top regulators. Dr. Marion Graber, the director of the FDA's vaccine office, will retire at the end of October, and her deputy, Dr. Philip Krause. There has been a whole lot of confusion when it comes to the matter of the FDA being said to have approved these Pfizer, and there has also now been a conversation about them adding more boosters to the jabs already in rotation. So I've seen a comment from KW Don. KW Don is saying that there was a comment from KW Don. You've seen Foshi and Biden are talking about buy yearly booster shots permanently, and this is a plan. There is a plan with this. If people do not wake up and realize what is happening with this, please stay away from these jobs. I will. TC Brook, you saying in North Carolina there has a teacher and a bus driver shortage as well. And this is also, this will happen in other different sectors. There will be a slowdown in other different sectors. I have seen nurses from Houston. I believe they went to court, and the judge did not really defend them. The judge was with the system. The judge was saying these nurses in Houston were not coerced, but I believe most of those nurses also said, they left their jobs as well. And let me also get the comments from Let Them Hang Down. Let Them Hang Down, you're laughing a little bit earlier. Thomas, are you saying you better homeschool because they saw a video of police after dragging a white boy out for not wearing a mask? A white boy, I'll keep homeschooling. Thank you. This is a kind of a brutalizing that will also be happening, and a demonizing of people that have not gotten the job in the eventual, in the days to come. True, you certainly can't if you are dead. I'm glad my daughter is of age. Fact that school bullshit and Sister Monique. It might happen in New York. I think in New York there was also the managing of teachers, and staff, and then also staff, school staffers, to also get the job. I believe we have talked about California and also New York, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, this has been the Africa Today show on the Blackwood Fan Network. Before we wind up, I just want to touch on the matter of Ahmed, a young man, was jogging and he was killed by two white supremacists, and the case is going on. I think this has taken a minute. It has taken a while for the determining of this particular case. But the judge has said it will not be put into consideration the previous legal problems that Ahmaud Arberys did have. So he said that these are irrelevant to the trial going on right now. The judge has said that the former past troubles regarding to his involvement with the police, these will not be put into consideration because the defense team for these three crackers right here, the defense team for these three of them, they were saying that this is a man who had problems with the police in earlier cases, and they were trying to demonize him, or they were trying to discredit him so that they could justify killing him because they say that he had gone into a building that was under construction, and they thought he was a thief, and he wanted to steal some property. He wanted to steal some property from these building. But yes, Gregory and Travis Mark Michael, who is a father and son, and their neighbor William Roddy Bryan Jr. are awaiting trial this fall for chasing and killing 25-year-old Albury last year as he ran in the neighborhood outside the coastal Brunswick. Jury selection is scheduled to start from the 18th of October. So I do see the determination of this going into maybe November. That is when we can hear the determination of the case after the jury has been selected and the case is actually made. So I believe in November, the family of the late Ahmaud Arberys might find justice, but we don't want to call it very, very early. They might also help the judge, and the system might also make these people get away with it. These murderers get away with it. And Sister Monique, yes, you're saying they planned the murder, and I'm saying it has also taken a while for this case. They will say, oh, there has been a problem with the systems or with the COVID pandemic, and all these are different kinds of explanations. But yes, we are coming to the end of the Africa Today show on the Black Fire Network. If you want to support the Black Fire Network, if you want to invite your support to support the network using Cash App, Mr. Black Hotfire, and also you can support the network using the official network website, which is www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. For those that have not checked out,
is the social page up there yet, Spikes?
Sorry,
you gotta send us a letter. It's up there.
No, I'm saying I don't know. The last time I checked during the day, it wasn't there. But let me just confirm because I had posted using the Black Fire Network /social. That would also take you to the menu.
Saying, is it on the menu yet? Is it on the network menu?
If anyone wants to check it out, kindly use this link. Let me just drop it, blackhotfirenetwork.com.
But I'm saying it's not on the menu though yet, right? It's not on the menu, right?
It's not on the menu. Yeah, it's not on the menu yet.
God damn, man.
Social. So if you log into the network, let me just show us in a second as we wind up. Let me show us what I'm talking about. So you really just come on, head over to your browser, search for the blackhotfirenetwork.com. And once you are on the blackhotfirenetwork.com, you can click on these. It will prompt you on how you log in. So you can click on this login tab at the top right. Click on that. So once you do click on that, it will actually prompt you to key in your details. For me, I already just saved it on my browser, so they're just here. So just click on login. And when I go to the login, I can also now come again and click on change the link right here at the top. Let me show you. I could also just click the link, or I could also open up another tab, which is blackhotfirenetwork.com/social, because I'm already in. I can access the resources. I'm already in. So these will take you to the social page.
Yeah, we got to get a menu for that. That's too much for black people.
So yes. So yeah. By the way, it would be much easier if you just made it simpler. But I was saying yes. These are the social page. You can post pictures. You can post links. Let me see if I have a link I want to share. I think these are a link from the show that not these are Shaka Vista. Yeah, you can share links, you can share photos, you can share videos. There's a lot.
You gotta open up the thing at the bottom. It tells you what videos, what pictures you put on there, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So this is a post type. You can select a text post. You can select a photo, you can select a video, you can even put up a poll just to find out what's going on. If you want to gather some info on something, you can also put up a poll right there. So you also have the shop page. If you haven't checked out the shop page, kindly come to the Black Fire Network apparel store.
Did we ever buy a microphone, Spikes, for like a phone? Didn't we ever buy like a microphone? Like a plug-in microphone?
Sorry, what?
Did we ever purchase?
No, we haven't.
We gotta get one of those for the since we're doing Instagram again, we need a microphone to go into the phone for Instagram.
Yeah,
So it
we
won't
will
sound
set
so
up.
forward.
Yeah, we will set that up so that we can also have a clear audio from our Instagram as well. But nonetheless, family, thank you so much for being part of the Blackout Fire Network. It's always a delight, and your support to the network is not in vain. We are able to do much more work on the ground. So if you are able to support the network with $5, $10, $15, whatever amount you feel comfortable with, we want to welcome that particular.
Whoever sent the $10, shout out to you. The $5, everything's appreciated. It goes, it always goes in the buy Spike's more underwear. Okay. It's hard to get cleaner underwear. Hard to get cleaner underwear in Africa.
The designer grandpa hats as well. The designer grandpa hats
and the grandpa. Somebody stole Spike's grandpa hat. We need more money for Spike's grandpa hat now. Go ahead, go to Blackout Fire. Go to blackoutfire.com, donate, or go to Mr. Blackout Fire Cash App. You gotta keep Spike's rolling in grandpa hats.
Yeah.
What's up, family? God damn. Bro, the fuck that's going through South Dallas. Shit.